Yeah, hi, it's Buck again. Back again with another story of the miraculous. Now, before we start, I'd like you to know that the miraculous sometimes can only be understood or seen by, you might call it a spiritual eye, but it's an eye that recognizes that that shouldn't have happened. It was the timing that made it spectacular. And this is the case with something that happened involving my mother many years ago. Now, my mom had a lot of problems. She started out life with adenoid problems, had her adenoids removed, had lost the hearing in one ear. But my understanding is nobody can judge. She was a very beautiful woman. I don't think any son can judge his mother, but that's what I was told. I was so shocked one time when I was a kid, and this friend of mine said, "Your mother is so beautiful." I said, "What are you talking about? That's my mom." Well, anyway, her father was a Presbyterian pastor, and they came across country in a covered wagon. I may have said that before, but there was 4 kids and an organ and a wife and a man in a covered wagon going across from Missouri to California, but taking the long route, the northern route. And he was starting churches as he went along the way. So my mom had this religious background, but she was a typical pastor's daughter who rebelled. She just, when she became a young lady, she just went wild. And she ended up doing things like she was working as a come-on girl in Reno, Nevada. She was also the postmistress in Truckee. Now, if you don't know what a come-on girl is, a come-on girl is a woman who's supposed to be very, very pretty, very beautiful. And when a casino in Reno or anywhere else is having a slow night, what they will do is they'll bring in a good-looking young lady, and they will have her start playing, and they will deal her a winning hand. And the object of it is to attract people to the tables. Okay, now this I got from my mother. And so, anyway, once the activity picked up, then they would signal her that she was supposed to leave, and she got to keep all the winnings. That's what a come-on girl was. Come on in. Okay, so anyway, I told you my mom went kind of wild. Went to the wild side, you might say. Well, anyway, the years passed, and she might have gone wild, but she always had God as her core. And when she got into her 50s, she had a double heart bypass surgery. She ended up with Parkinson's and had a stroke, all at different times, but in the same general area. My poor dad, he was my stepfather actually, but he was burdened with taking care of her. At this time, I was living in Virginia. I'd gone back to Virginia to help my brother out with his business. He called me and wanted me to come, and I didn't want to go. But he played dirty, and he called our dad and told him that he had started a new business and that it was making lots of money, and he'd like to have me come and work with him to help things run smoothly. So my dad called me and he said, "Buck, I think you should go." Well, I'd already told Alice no, but I can never say no to my father. I really couldn't. If he wanted me to do something, I did it. And so I was working with the Forest Service, the county of Santa Clara, and lived in San Jose. And I loved that job. It was I just loved it. I just let it go at that. Didn't pay very well. That was part of the ammunition my brother used. He offered me $400 a week plus commissions and overrides. Well, this was in 1970, and at that time I was only making $4.90 an hour. So $400 a week is a lot more. Forget the rest of the stuff. I had a bad feeling about it and I didn't want to go. So anyway, my dad said he thought I should go. And I fired my last bullet. I said, Dad, I don't have the money to go. I can't afford to go back to Virginia. And he said, I'll loan you the money. And you can pay it back if you want to, but you don't have to. And so he gave me $600 and I rented, everybody's heard of U-Haul. Well, this was Easy Haul. It was a competitor at the time. And they were cheaper than U-Haul. I rented an Easy Haul, put all my stuff in it, and headed back to Virginia. Well, as we're pulling in to Norfolk, the atmosphere, I could just feel it. And I knew this is a mistake. And I even said that to my kids. At that time, I was a bachelor father. Well, it was. The thing with my brother fell apart, and I ended up going door to door shampooing carpets because I used to work for Electrolux. And I became one of their best customers. I bought both an Electrolux vacuum cleaner and one of their shampooers. When I was working with Electrolux, I'd go door to door and I'd knock and say, hi, my name's Buck and I'm with Electrolux Company. And people would always say, we're not interested in a vacuum cleaner. But, well, people didn't always say this, but quite a few people would say, do you happen to clean carpets? Because they knew that many Electrolux salesmen did. And so after the second or third time, I said, yes, I do. And I charged $35 to do a whole house. And at that time, it was pretty good money. And it did a beautiful job. So anyway, when I got stuck in Virginia, I had this shampooer. And working with Dallas didn't work well, so I ended up... He and I went into business quite a few times over the years, but it never lasted too long. I started going door to door, made up of flyers, door to door, shampooing houses, a whole house for $35, but I was selective, mind you, of the neighborhood. And you got to remember, that was a long time ago. I was doing pretty good. Money was rolling in, but I outsmarted myself. What I did was, I thought, you know what, rather than go door to door, which I didn't really like doing, I think I'll start going to realtors because real estate agents handle many houses, and by just talking to one person, I can cover a whole area. Well, what happened was, they kept saying, no, we don't have any places need shampooing, but I kept hearing a couple times, do you do painting? And after the second time I heard, do you do painting? I said, yes, I do. And so this realtor gave me keys to this house, and I went into this neighborhood, and it was a 2-story townhouse type, and walked in, had no idea in the world what I was doing. I had never made an estimate on painting before, but he wanted a price. And I walked in, and I'm looking at the ceiling, and I'm looking around, and have, like I say, absolutely no idea how to make an estimate. I didn't notice, I just started automatically scratching my legs as I'm looking around, you know, doing this, and finally it began to bother me really bad, and I looked down. I was wearing gray pants at the time. They were black with fleas. My legs were on fire. I ended up running out of the house, out into the middle of the street. I dropped my pants, and I am sitting there brushing off fleas. So that should have told me something right there. I ended up just pulling a figure out of the air, $235, and he thought that was a good price, and it turned out it was a good price. I made a little money on that, and so anyway, that was the start of my painting business. that was the only good price I made for the next 6 months or a year or so. It took me a long time to figure out what I was doing. But everybody wanted houses painted. Nobody, now I'm talking about real estate agents, nobody wanted their carpet shampooed. Well, I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't making any money. I had people working for me. They were making money, but I wasn't. And life was really hard. And all I wanted to do was go back to California. I loved California. Well, I loved the West Coast. Not necessarily California, but the whole West Coast. And you know, it's like, the feelings here are like, some people like New York. They love New York. They wouldn't live anywhere but New York. Well, I'm not one of them. Virginia was a beautiful state. It is a beautiful state. It's a wonderful place to live, but it wasn't for me. It's a different feeling there than there is on the West Coast. All I wanted to do was go back. One day, I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm looking at my accounts, and suddenly I realize, holy wow. When I finish this job, I will clear $3,046.36. I've made that figure up, but it's really close. It was somewhere in that area. $3,046.46. In my mind, I had a large truck. I had a 2.5-ton Chevrolet with a 20-foot bed, 8-foot wide. It was pretty good size. In my mind, that truck was loaded with my belongings. The kids and I were in the cab, and we were on our way to California. I was so excited all day long. I'm planning this trip. That night after work, went home, telephone rang. It was my mother. She said, "Bucky, we need your help. Can you come down here for a while?" My parents lived in Florida. I said, "Yes, Mama." Turned out my dad had to go into the hospital for surgery, and my mom was pretty much an invalid and needed someone to stay with her. As I said, "Yes, Mama," and this is true, I literally saw these greenback dollars take wing and fly off. The whole thing, just all that money was gone. Well, it turns out I spent 30 days down in Florida. At that time, I'd remarried, and my wife and kids stayed in Florida. My dad's surgery was successful. Ended up going back home. No money. Now here's the thing. My mom had changed over the years. She was no longer a come-on girl. She was very devout. And she would read the Bible all the time. She listened to CBN, Christian Broadcasting Network. Even I don't do that, all day long. She needed help. And the way the help came was through me receiving $3,000. So I was able to go back down to Florida to stay with her for a month. I remember when I figured up my accounts after I got home, that the amount of money that I received and the amount of money that it cost to support a family in Virginia and take care of my own needs and travel down to Florida, there was a 36 cents discrepancy. Took everything but 36 cents. And I've always thought, actually I had two thoughts. Oh, I made a profit. But I always thought, really, that if I'd recalculated a little bit more accurately, if I hadn't missed something, it was probably exact amount of money. God looks after his children. Those who come to him, God takes care of. It's not, like I said in the beginning, it's not necessarily a parting of the Red Sea. It's synchronistic. It's the timing that makes it important. And that's what I hope you get. Look at your own lives. You'll see it happen. And when it does, you know that God is in your life. Believe me. Love you guys. Bye-bye.